Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is What If Naruto Got Harem with Multiple Women's Part 5. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this and comment for next part. And now let's start the fanfic. It went fine, we fought a bit, I talked to her about a few things, then I left her unconscious with a message to deliver to Pain, and hopefully a lot on her mind to think about. Naruto replied, we should get back to Konoha though, we can discuss everything else there. -3 days later, Konoha. After sneaking Itachi in relatively easily, Naruto and his team could be found standing in front of Tsunade, reporting how their mission went. So, let me get this straight, you three. Tsunade started, pointing at Guy, Yugao and Itachi, fought Kisame and forced him to retreat. Hi Tsunade-sama. Yugao clarified, while the two of you fought Konan and a few of her clones. She continued, pointing at Naruto and Kakashi. Kakashi was able to end the fight relatively unscathed from what you told me. You decided to let her live in hopes that she would deliver a message to Pain, and to think about what you told her. Yay. Naruto said, hearing it from Tsunade it really didn't sound like the best plan ever, but he had his reasons for it. I can't think of a reason why you would do something like that, on second thought, I don't want to know. Tsunade said with a sigh, I'm getting too old for this shit. In all honesty Tsunade-sama, Konan didn't come across as an evil person, she is blindly following her last remaining friend as he is going down a dark path, leading her to do the same. I wanted her to take my advice in hopes of pushing her, so to say, back on the path that Jiraiya had hoped they would go on. Whether or not she does is up to her, I will not spare her a second time should another fight between us occur. Naruto said, make sure that you don't brat. Now we just need to figure out what to do about you Itachi. Tsunade said as she looked at the older Uchiha, there are two ways we can do this, we can tell the village about the planned coup d'etat, and the role that you played in making sure it didn't happen. You would probably be welcomed back as a hero. If you do not want the village to know about it, then it won't be as easy. I could probably get the sentence brought down from execution to jail time, but I couldn't guarantee how long it would last. Tsunade said, I would prefer to not let the village know about what really happened that night. The Uchiha clan had fallen far enough from grace before I killed them, but my other option isn't that great either. The most likely case is I would be thrown in jail and have my chakra sealed off until I was released, making me unable to serve the village. Itachi replied, earning a nod from Tsunade. May I suggest something Tsunade-sama? Naruto asked. Of course Naruto-kun. Tsunade replied. I suggest leaving the announcement of Itachi's return to the village until I've been named the new Uzumaki clan head. After that you can explain to the village and the council that Itachi came back willingly and that I've taken him as my responsibility. Naruto explained. The council still won't like that. They will probably argue that he came back in an attempt to kill you, or someone else, before disappearing again. Tsunade said, receiving a nod from Naruto. Alright, then how about this? The Uzumaki clan has a seal similar to the caged bird seal that the Hyuga use. However, I'm able to link it directly to a certain part of the person's body. If I was to say, link it to Itachi's heart, I would be able to kill him without a second glance should something happen. Itachi is loyal to this village, that much is certain, but the council and civilians will still be in fear of him. With my seal it will at least give them a means of security. It would also be safe to assume that the council would want Itachi close to me as much as possible, so he would probably be coming on missions with me, as well as being a temporary resident in my compound. Naruto said, and before you ask, the only person able to use a seal that has been placed is the person who has placed it, so Itachi will not have to worry about someone else trying to kill him. That could work. How do you feel about it Itachi? Tsunade asked. Having to have the seal placed would be less than satisfactory, but from what I've seen so far, Naruto-kun has grown in leaps and bounds since I last saw him and I'm willing to place my trust in him, Given my other options, I don't really have much of a choice if I want to still be an active part of Konoha's shinobi forces anyways. Itachi said, earning a nod from Tsunade. Alright, well, I will call a council meeting in a few days then, just lay low till then. Naruto's compound should have everything you need to last a few days, training grounds included. Tsunade said before she dismissed the 5 of them. Come on, Itachi, might as well show you your new hideout for the next few days. Naruto said as he grabbed Itachi's shoulder and left via Shunshin, followed shortly by Yugao. So, Tsunade started, either of you want to make a bet on when Yugao or Naruto will confess their feelings for one another? Tsunade asked with a smirk. Hopefully not long, Tsunade-sama, I think it would be good for the both of them. Kakashi replied with Guy nodding in agreement. With Naruto. Naruto and Itachi appeared just inside the gate of his compound, and not being one for admiring scenery, Itachi requested being shown to his room right away. After putting his things away, Naruto gave Itachi a quick tour of the house and the yard, making sure Itachi knew where each of the training fields was located. Well, that's pretty much it, Itachi. If you need anything else, just ask me or Yugao. Breakfast is usually prepared around 8 am, and supper is usually around 6, depending on if we have a mission or not. Naruto said. After receiving a nod from Itachi, he set out to find Yugao, who he had felt enter shortly after arriving with Itachi. Yugao-chan, are you in here? Naruto asked as he knocked on the door. Not getting a reply but hearing a slight rustling in the room, he opened the door, only to go rigid in shock. On the far side of the room, Yugao was bent over rummaging through something in her drawer, in nothing but a wet towel that left almost nothing to the imagination. Naruto's eyes trailed up from the floor, following Yugao's long silky smooth legs right up to her heart-shaped rear end. As Yugao straightened up, Naruto noticed how her long purple hair flowed to the small of her back, and he had to admit that it looked a lot better let down. Then she turned, going as stock still as Naruto had, giving him time to take in her beautiful curvy figure from the front, taking in the way her S bounced slightly from her sudden stop, before looking up to her beautiful face that had gone a shade of red not even Hinata could match. Naruto, oh 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 oh. Yugao yelled, breaking Naruto out of his trance. Ah, I'm sorry, Yugao-chan, I had no idea. Naruto shouted as he dodged the various amount of things Yugao found to throw at him. Where the did she pull that sword from? He thought to himself as a ninjutsu embedded itself in the wall directly behind him. That doesn't excuse the fact that you were staring at me in nothing but a towel. Yugao argued. I said I was sorry, I was just captivated by your beauty, that's all. Naruto said honestly, causing Yugao to stop throwing things and blush once again. Really? She stammered out. Yay. I didn't know you had just gotten out of the shower, I just wanted to know if you wanted to train or something. Naruto said, I'll be downstairs whenever you're dressed, come find me and we can talk. Sure, but you owe me for this, Naruto-kun. Yugao said. Naruto just waved it off and left, leaving a flustered Yugao alone in her room. He said I was beautiful. Sometime later, after Yugao had gotten dressed, the two of them decided to waste a little time doing a little kenjutsu practice. And after nursing the numerous cuts and lacerations Yugao had left over his body, Naruto had offered to take her for a walk around Konoha in the early evening light, eventually winding up on the Yondaimi's head. The two of them laid there in relative silence as they gazed up towards the sky as the stars began to line the night sky. You know, Yugao started, gaining Naruto's attention, aside from that little stunt you had walking in on me earlier, I had a lot of fun this afternoon, Naruto-kun, thank you. You aren't going to forget that for a while, are you? Naruto sighed out, earning a slight giggle from Yugao as she shook her head. Whatever, I'm glad that you did, because I did too. It's been a long time since we have been able to hang out like this. Yay, Yugao said. In the ANBU they hardly had time to hang out as just regular friends with all the missions and training they were forced to do, but she had always enjoyed the moments of peace they had managed to share over the past 3 years. Hey Yugao-chan, Can I ask you something? Naruto said. Of course, Naruto-kun. I need to talk to Hinata about how I feel, but I don't know how to tell her without destroying what little confidence she has left. Naruto started. While we were never really talked during my time in the academy, I still consider her a friend. I want to let her down without hurting her too much. I think that, no matter how you tell her, you are going to hurt her. Yugao started, causing Naruto to sigh. That girl, whatever her reasons may be, has devoted herself to you. I watched as she used to follow you everywhere when the two of you were younger. She watched as your hard work and determination overcame the obstacles in your early life, and I think that she wanted to eventually be like you, in hopes that she would gain your attention and would return her feelings. I see. I don't know what to do, Yugao-chan. I've faced S-ranked criminal after S-ranked criminal and never faltered, but when it comes to girls I turn into a complete idiot. Naruto said, causing Yugao to giggle at his antics. I'm sure you will find a way, Naruto-kun, you always do. Yugao said with a smile. Thanks, Yugao-chan. Naruto said, earning a nod from said purple-haired woman, before she slid a little closer to Naruto and rested her head on his chest, enjoying the sound of his heartbeat. What are you doing, Yugao-chan? Naruto stammered as he stiffened slightly at the feeling of Yugao's head on his chest, earning another giggle from her. Looking up, Yugao noticed the slight red hue on Naruto's cheeks, and after a moment of hesitation decided to go one step further as she reached up and cupped Naruto's cheek, earning a curious look from the blonde before his eyes widened as he felt her lips press against his. It took Naruto a few moments to realize what was going on, but as soon as he did, he returned the kiss, making Yugao smile on the inside. The kiss held no lust, no want, just years of pent-up emotions. No words were needed to describe what the two of them were feeling. The kiss was doing that better than words ever could. Does this mean that? Naruto started, but was stopped as Yugao put a finger up against his lips. I want to take this slow, Naruto-kun. I'm not sure what I feel for you right now, but I don't want to miss this chance. For now, let's just enjoy this. Yugao said as she placed her head back on his chest. A soft smile graced her lips as she felt Naruto wrap his arm around her shoulders, pulling her closer to his body. Yay, I could get used to this. They both thought. Naruto woke later than usual the next morning, having gotten in fairly late from his time spent with Yugao on the monument. He felt as though he needed the little extra sleep. Walking into the bathroom, Naruto's mind flashed to the day before, walking in Yugao after her shower, training with her, then proceeding to spend the rest of the day with her, leading up to the talk about Hinata and finally the kiss. After that, they had laid there in relative silence, gazing up at the stars until Yugao fell asleep on Naruto's chest, which in turn prompted the young man to carry her back to his estate before placing her gently on her bed in an attempt to not awaken her. Unfortunately for Naruto, sleep was not as easy for him to claim as it had been Yugao, and he spent a few more hours thinking over everything that had happened with Yugao. He had a lot of questions for his longtime friend and teammate, and he was hoping he would get some answers over breakfast. After finishing up in the bathroom, Naruto dressed in regular civilian clothing before heading downstairs. Expanding his senses, he felt Itachi training in the backyard. While he could feel Yugao was still in her room, or at least in her private bath, he couldn't really tell exactly. Sighing to himself, he made his way to the kitchen, putting a kettle on the stove for coffee and taking out the needed ingredients for breakfast. Naruto cracked a couple eggs into a plastic bowl before adding milk and whisking it all together and pouring it into a frying pan, letting it sit while he placed strips of bacon in another pan. He had been so engrossed in what he was doing that he didn't feel or hear Yugao come into the kitchen, stopping and watching as the blonde scrambled the eggs, while at the same time making sure not to burn the bacon. A small smile graced her lips as she watched him prepare enough for three, before dishing out an equal amount on separate plates and placing them on the table. That smells delicious, Naruto-kun. Yugao said as she made her presence known, startling the blonde slightly. Ah, Yugao-chan, you startled me. Naruto said. How long have you been standing there? Long enough. she replied with a smirk as she took her seat at the table, followed shortly by Naruto. How did I get home? The last thing I remember is cuddling with you after the kiss, then I woke up in my bed. Well, you eventually fell asleep on me. Naruto started, earning a slight blush of embarrassment from Yugao. After that I carried you here and put you in your bed before going to sleep myself. Sorry for making you carry me here Naruto-kun, you could have woken me up. Yugao stuttered, her blush deepening a bit. Nah, it wasn't a big deal Yugao-chan, you looked so peaceful and beautiful sleeping I couldn't bring myself to wake you up. Naruto said, before his eyes widened and he realized he said a little more than he meant to. You know, Yugao started, that's the second time you have called me beautiful in as many days Naruto-kun. Sorry. Naruto said, making a frown appear on Yugao's face. For what? I don't know, everything I guess, calling you beautiful, the kiss, I know you still upset over Hayate Bu. Slap. Don't apologize for anything. Yugao started, hands trembling, I love it when you call me beautiful, it makes me feel something inside I haven't felt since Hayate-kun died. I may still be upset over his death, but the death of a loved one is not something that can be easily forgotten or stored away, but that doesn't mean I can't move on. Yugao-chan Naruto started, but a wave from Yugao cut him off. The kiss was my idea, she started softly, I don't know why I did it, I was scared, that you wouldn't accept me or that you wouldn't return it and I would have ruined the friendship that we built up over the years. I don't know what this feeling is Naruto-kun, but you have helped me in so many ways over the past 3 years and been there for me when I needed you. If you would have me, I want to try and pursue a relationship with you. Are you sure Yugao-chan? If you're not ready it can wait. Naruto said. Yugao smiled at his thoughtful gesture but shook her head. I'm sure Naruto-kun. I can't think of anyone else I would rather want to pursue this with. Yugao replied with a small smile. Well, Naruto started with a small smile, I wouldn't be much of a gentleman to refuse you now would I? Idiot. Yugao said as she practically jumped over the table and embraced Naruto, you shouldn't say yes just because I want this. I know, and I'm not. I would be lying if I said I didn't find you attractive Yugao-chan, you're a beautiful and strong kunoichi, you've been a constant in my life whether it was when I was younger or when we were in ANBU together. I had developed somewhat of a crush on you when I was younger, and through our years in ANBU it grew into something more, but I didn't want to act on it because I saw how upset you still were over Hayate. I decided a long time ago that regardless of what I was to you I didn't like to see you cry, and that I would try to break you out of the depression you were in. Naruto said softly as he rubbed Yugao's back, seems like that's sorta worked out huh? Yugao didn't say anything, as she didn't trust herself to not break down and cry on Naruto's chest, instead she just nodded her head, her emotions being calmed by the soothing feel of Naruto's hand rubbing her back. Yugao-chan, what about my position as clan head though? It's highly likely the council will want me to take part in the CRA and I don't want either of my parents' clans to die with me. Naruto asked after Yugao had calmed down. I know about the CRA Naruto-kun, as long as you find women who care about you and not what clan you're from I'm okay with it. I already know a couple women who have taken a slight interest in you, you just have to look around. Yugao replied. Kakashi-sensei said the same thing. Thanks Yugao-chan. Naruto said, we should probably finish breakfast before Itachi comes in from training, I've got a few things I want to do today, starting with Hinata. Alright Naruto-kun, I wanted to see if Kurenai or Anko were around today anyways. Yugao replied, earning a nod from Naruto. Since Jiraiya isn't in town you should take your friends to the hot springs here in Konoha, my treat. Naruto said, earning a grateful nod from Yugao, I was actually going to go to Team 8's training ground after breakfast to see if I could catch up with both Hinata and Kurenai, feel free to come with me if you want. That would save me the hassle of having to look for Kurenai later on Naruto-kun, so I think I'll come with you. Yugao replied. Just give me a few minutes after breakfast to get ready and we can leave, I don't think she has the day off, so we should catch her team just as they are finishing up their morning routine. Sounds good, I've got a few things to do before I leave anyways. Naruto replied. Breakfast from that point was eaten in relative silence, Yugao offering compliments on Naruto's cooking every so often along with Itachi who had come in a few minutes earlier. Finishing breakfast, Naruto created a few clones and had them gather the dishes before bringing them to the kitchen and washing them while he and Yugao went upstairs to get ready for their day. Being a day off for Naruto, he decided to change into a set of black slacks with a blue t-shirt that had the Uzumaki clan swirl on the back. Pumping a bit of chakra into one of the seals located on his hand, his ninjutsu appeared quickly and Naruto swung it around a few times before nodding to himself and sealing it back inside his hand. One could never be too careful. Naruto spotted Yugao coming out of her room as he made his way towards his estate's entrance and couldn't help the small red hue that appeared on his face. Yugao had the same choice as Naruto and decided to dress in civilian clothing, picking out a deep purple spring dress with lavender trim. I didn't know you had any dresses like that, Yugao-chan. Naruto said, earning the purple-haired woman's attention. It's something Hayate bought for me when we were dating. This is the first time I've worn it in over 3 years. Yugao replied with a sad smile. Sorry, Yugao-chan, I didn't mean to bring that up. Naruto replied but was waved off from Yugao. It's alright, Naruto-kun. Alright, Yugao-chan, if you want I can give you some money and you can go shopping later as well. Are you sure, Naruto-kun? I mean, I've got plenty of money left from all the missions we did in ANBU, Yugao said before Naruto stopped her. I'm sure, Yugao-chan, I got a lot of money from my parents, as well as everything that was left from missions I did. I don't mind spending my money on you, isn't that what boyfriends do? Naruto replied with a sly smirk. I guess so, Yugao said with a small smile before taking Naruto's arm and leading him down the stairs. You can woe me with your words later, we need to get to the training ground before Kurenai-chan and her team leave. Team 8's a training ground. You guys did really well today, Kurenai said as she gazed across at her team. Having just finished morning training, they had decided to relax by the training ground's small pond. Even though you technically aren't my students anymore, I'm still proud at the improvements you've made since becoming Chunin and Jonin. Hehe, it's not that big of a deal, Kurenai-sensei. Kiba replied, and then sniffed the air as he got a whiff of a familiar scent. Naruto seems to be approaching from the other side of the training ground. Kurenai-sensei, maybe he's coming to ask about his offer to train you. I don't know, Kiba, I can sense someone else with him as well. Kurenai said, maybe he is just passing through. A few moments later, Team 8 watched as Naruto and Yugao dropped down into the training ground. Hey there, Kurenai-chan, Yugao said as she walked towards them, arms still linked with Naruto's, earning surprised and saddened looks from her team. Hey Yugao-chan, it seems you've finally decided to move on. Kurenai said with a small smile, earning a nod from her friend. Yay, it took a while, and I kinda had to make the first move, but it all worked out. Yugao replied as she brought herself a little closer to Naruto. I woulda made the first move if had known you liked me. Naruto argued back, I didn't want to say anything then ruin the friendship we had by making it awkward. Right, Yugao replied sarcastically. So what did you two come here for? Kurenai asked. Did you come to talk about your offer, Naruto? Well, not really, I need to discuss a few things with someone. Naruto said, earning a nod from Kurenai. But if you have an answer for me, I'd love to hear it. I'd like for you to help me with taijutsu and ninjutsu. Kurenai said, and if you could, my stamina and chakra reserves as well. That shouldn't be a problem, Kurenai, those are my areas of expertise after all. Naruto said, you won't be able to reach my chakra and stamina levels for obvious reasons, but I'll be able to get you up to Yugao-chan's level at least. Thank you, Naruto, Kurenai replied with a grateful smile, receiving a nod from said blonde. Kurenai-chan, I was wondering if you wanted to go to the hot springs after. We can invite Enko and Hana as well, Naruto's treat. Yugao asked her friend. Sure, but I can pay for myself. Kurenai replied, not really wanting Naruto to be spending money on her. I insist, Kurenai. Any friends of Yugao-chan are friends of mine, so I really don't mind. Naruto spoke up. Now the training will have to wait a few days till after the next council meeting, as there are certain things going on at my compound that few people are allowed to know right now. So I will find you or ask Yugao-chan to get you when things have settled down, alright? Sure. Kurenai replied, a little interested in what Naruto was hiding but wouldn't push the issue. So, now that that's done, I need to talk to Hinata about a few things. Naruto said, earning a surprised look and light blush from the shy girl. What about Naruto-kun? Hinata stammered. Well, it's kind of private, so I would prefer if we talked somewhere else, if that's okay with you. Naruto said, earning a nod from Hinata. Good. I want you to meet me on top of the Hokage monument in a few minutes. Alright, Naruto-kun, Hinata said before making a hand sign and disappearing in a swirl of leaves. Alright, Yugao-chan, I will see you back at the compound later. Have fun with your friends. Naruto said, don't hesitate to buy anything you may need as well. Naruto, wait. Kiba shouted before Naruto could disappear. What do you need, Kiba? He asked. I'm sorry for how I treated you before. You are my friend and I let my pride get in the way. I shouldn't have acted like I did. Kiba said apologetically. Don't worry about it, Kiba. If you ever need a sparring partner, feel free to seek me out. Now, I've got something that I need to deal with. Naruto said before disappearing to the Hokage monument. What is he going to talk to her about? Kiba asked Yugao. The truth was all Yugao said as she turned and started talking with Kurenai again, earning a confused look from Kiba before he shrugged it off and left. I hope everything works out, Naruto-kun. With Naruto and Hinata. Naruto let out a sigh as he appeared on the Hokage monument and saw Hinata nervously poking her fingers together as she looked over the village. He didn't exactly know what to call the girl in front of him. Having never really interacted with the girl, he couldn't really say they were close. Sure, they had gone to the academy together, and looking back he realized that she had been one of the few to actually cheer him on back then, albeit from a fair distance, and that had been the main reason she had earned a spot on his list of people he wanted to protect. If he had realized her feelings a little earlier, then maybe they could have had a future together as more than friends, but things hadn't turned out like that and he felt bad for what he was about to do. It's for her own good. I'm not who she thinks I am, at least not anymore. Hinata. Naruto said, earning said girl's attention as she let out a low eep. We need to talk about a few things. Oh, okay, Naruto-kun. Hinata replied. I know about your feelings for me, Hinata. Naruto started, surprising the young girl. She was about to say something, but Naruto put his hand up and stopped her. I would like for you to wait till I'm finished before saying anything. Oh, okay, she replied lowly. Now, I've grown a lot in the past few years, both physically and mentally, as I'm sure you have noticed, and I realized how stupid I was before for not realizing how you felt about me. Naruto started, getting Hinata's hopes up slightly, and while I'll admit that you are a strong kunoichi and easily one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen, I simple can't return your feelings. Naruto regretted saying those words as soon as the devastated look appeared on Hinata's face. Cursing himself slightly, he reached out to comfort the girl only to have his hand slapped away. Why? Why? She shouted, tears threatening to fall from her eyes. These feelings you have, they are based on the person that I used to be, but even then that was never who I truly was. We never really talked, or did anything together. How can you have feelings for someone you hardly know? Naruto said, trying to calm her down. I'll admit that if I had realized your feelings before I went into ANBU, things probably would have been different, but I was too stupid and you were too shy. How about now? Give me a chance to get to know you, Naruto-kun. Hinata said, you said things may have been different if we had got to know each other, so why not now? I've watched you since we were in the academy, seeing how you never gave up gave me the strength to overcome my own obstacles. You're wrong, Naruto said, your strength is your own, I may have given you determination, but not strength. You wanted to become strong so that I would notice you, hoping that I would return your feelings, is that correct? Somewhat, Hinata said, I wanted to become strong to prove my family wrong about me, and with that strength I would be able to change my clan. I see, you may not know this but I noticed you during your fight with Neji in the Chunin exams, you showed great determination and a will to not give up even fighting a stronger opponent. That earned my respect, but I can't have feelings for someone I don't know. While it's very possible that I may come to like you in time, I do not think your father would agree. As the last remaining person in my clan, it's also very likely I'll be forced to take multiple wives. As you noticed earlier, I'm already with Yugao-chan. You are a caring person, Hinata, but something tells me that you wouldn't be willing to share me with anyone else. Naruto said, watching in amusement as a still annoyed-looking Hinata blushed at the double meaning to his last statement. Hey, it's always the shy ones. Whatever guy ends up with her will be one lucky son of a bitch. Naruto thought. I'm sorry, Hinata, I really am. I remember how you were always nice to me in the academy and cheered me on, even if it was from a distance. I'm sorry that I can't give you what you want, Hinata. Naruto said. Hearing the sincerity in his voice, Hinata calmed down a little. It's okay, Naruto-kun, I kind of understand. Hinata replied with a sad smile. Do you think I'm weak, Naruto-kun? No, I think the exact opposite, in fact. Like I said earlier, you're a very strong kunoichi. I believe that one day, you will be able to achieve your dream of uniting the two halves of the Hyuga family. When that day comes, you will prove yourself to everybody else who still doesn't believe in you. Naruto said. Thank you, Naruto-kun, that means a lot to me. No problem, Hinata. Even if I can't return your feelings, you're still one of my friends, and I never abandon my friends. Naruto said, will you be okay with just being friends? Why yes, Naruto-kun, it may take a while for me to get over my feelings for you, but I would still love it if you were a part of my life. Hinata replied with a small smile. Alright, I'm sure you won't have any issues finding someone else, Hinata. With your personality and certain assets. Naruto started as he eyed Hinata, making the girl blush. I'm sure you will have men falling for you left and right. Pervert. Hinata stammered before leaving via Shunshin, making Naruto chuckle slightly. Lucky guy indeed. In aim. So, you let not only Itachi, but the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi get away? Pain asked Konan as she finished telling him of her and Kisami's defeat. I'm sorry, Nagato, wherever the Kyuubi Jinchuriki disappeared to over the past 3 years helped him grow stronger, I'm lucky that he didn't kill me. Konan replied. Failure is not acceptable, Konan, if you were anyone else I would have killed you. Because of your failure, Konoha now has information on all of our members, do not fail me again or you might not get off as easy. Pain said, earning a slight wince from Konan. Would you really go so far as to kill the only friend you have left? Konan asked somewhat hesitantly. If it means that true peace would be easier to obtain, then yes. I will do what needs to be done to usher in an era of true peace. Pain replied. He would really kill me. Maybe Naruto-san was right, maybe the Nagato I once knew is no more, Konan thought, then her eyes widened. No. Nagato wouldn't do that. I'm just overthinking this, I need some fresh air to help me think. Konan walked the streets of AIM, a thoughtful frown on her face as she thought about what Nagato had said to her earlier. Shaking her head of those thoughts, she looked around, noticing how the people of AIM gave her a wide berth in the road. Some would talk in hushed whispers with one another while looking her way, but most avoided eye contact completely. Konan was so wrapped up in her thoughts that she was almost knocked over as she felt a small body crash into her. Looking down, Conan's eyes softened slightly as saw who had bumped into her, a young girl with dark red hair and dark green eyes wearing nothing but a raggedy old dress. Are you alright, young one? Konan asked as she bent over to help the girl up. Growing up an orphan, Conan had developed somewhat of a soft spot for young orphans and tried to help as much as she could. She was shocked when the young girl tried to scurry backwards, fear written all over her young face. I'm sorry. Please don't hurt me. She stammered as she tried to scoot backwards away from Conan. I don't want to be part of some experiment. Please don't kill me. I'm not going to hurt you, I'm just trying to help. Conan said, trying to reason with the girl. I don't believe you. She yelled as she got to her feet and darted into a nearby alleyway and out of Conan's sight. Conan stood stock still in the middle of the street, the people around her whispering to each other about the scene that had just taken place, whispering to each other about how the angel was trying to steal the young girl for her God's experiments. Seeing the fright in the little girl's eyes and hearing how the villagers were whispering about her brought back what Naruto had said to her. He may have freed the people of AIM, but they still live in fear of him. Naruto's words came crashing back in full force as she found herself starting to believe them. It was clear from how the villagers talked that they feared Nagato and what he did in the tower, but she had never gone out of her way to harm the people of AIM, yet they still feared her. They called her the angel, yet feared her as a weapon, one that would bring nothing but death and despair. Is this how the tailed beast weapon will be seen? Nagato wants to create peace for the world the same way he did in AIM, by killing off those who oppose him while the rest cower in fear. There has to be a better way, one where we can live together peacefully without fear. I will try to show Nagato that the path he is walking down could never lead to true peace. If he can't accept that what he plans to do is wrong, then I don't know if I would be able to follow him anymore. But where would she go? Who could she turn to if not the only friend and link she had to a childhood long past? Aside from Konoha, none of the other villages knew much about Akatsuki, making it a safe bet that she would be able to get in one without much trouble. If she left though, she was sure Nagato would track her down, intent of either killing her or taking her prisoner so his secrets wouldn't get out. None of the hidden villages aside from Konoha and possibly Kumo would have the ability to protect her from him. Perhaps Yahiko, perhaps your dream does live on, just not through Nagato like I had originally thought. Would you help me if I asked you, Naruto Uzumaki? Few days later, Konoha. Tsunade rubbed her temples as she thought of how much paperwork the next council meeting would cause. Do we really have to announce both of you today? Tsunade asked, hoping to lessen the amount of paperwork that cut into her drinking time. Yes you do, Ba-chan. Naruto said, now please stop asking. Tsunade decided to come to Naruto's complex earlier to speak with both Naruto and Itachi instead of calling them to her office. They were lucky enough that Itachi remained hidden when her first entered the village, and she didn't want to push their luck any further. Naruto is right, Tsunade-sama, it would be best to get this over and done with as soon as possible. I'm not sure what Akatsuki will do now that they have lost one of their members. I do not think there are any other shinobi currently strong enough to fight Biju, so I believe that Kisame will work by himself. I know that Sasori and Deidara are in charge of capturing the Ikibi, but that might change now. Itachi said. What do you mean? Naruto asked, interested in who might be going after Gaara. Well, Kisame and I were in charge of getting the Kyuubi from you, but with me gone I doubt Pain would send just one person after you, even if it is Kisame. With me gone he will have to change who is in charge of obtaining each Biju. By himself Kisame could probably take any of them up to the Gobi, so Pain might make him switch with one of the other groups so that there will be two people hunting you. My guess is that he will switch Kisame out with both Deidara and Sasori, who are in charge of capturing the Ikibi, or Hidan and Kakuzu who are in charge of Nibi. Hidan and Kakuzu are the so-called zombie brothers, right? Naruto asked. With info on who might be going after both Gaara and Yugito, Naruto would be better prepared should either of them use one of the reverse summoning tags that he gave them. Yay, I don't really know a lot about either of them. Kakuzu is a bounty hunter from Taki, rumored to have fought the Shadaime Hokage. Apparently he can steal other people's hearts and use them as his own, which is why he has been able to live for this long. Aside from that, I don't really know a lot about him. Hidan is a Jushinist from Yugakure. He carries a large three-bladed scythe around with him at all times, leading me to believe that he is a close-ranged specialist. From what I've heard, if he cuts you with it, he can perform a ritual where he consumes your blood and any damage inflicted to him is redirected to whoever's blood he ingested. Hidan is the more problematic of the two in my opinion. Unless you completely destroy his body, I'm not sure if you can kill him or not. At least Kakuzu will die after his 5 hearts are destroyed. Itachi explained, earning a nod from Naruto and Tsunade. I see. Naruto started. Either way, whoever goes after Yugito or Gaara will be problematic. We will have to be ready if they use my reverse summoning tags. Alone I could probably deal with Kisame, but I'm not really comfortable fighting against 2S ranked shinobi by myself. If the tags are to be used, Itachi, I will most likely be bringing you with me. Naruto said, receiving a nod from the older Uchiha. I can understand why you gave Gaara a tag the last time you were in Suna, but I can't quite understand why you gave Yugito one. Our villages don't even have an alliance with each other, we owe Kumo nothing. Tsunade asked. I know that, but there is an unexplainable connection that we Jinchuriki have with one another. If I can do something to help prevent Akatsuki from claiming a tailed beast, then that is just extra. Besides, helping Kumo's Jinchuriki could lead to an alliance with them. She is close to the Raikage and his little brother who is the other Jinchuriki. If I asked her, she would probably try and convince the Raikage into one, giving Konoha another ally. Naruto explained, earning a nod from Tsunade. I guess you do have a point, brat, but I'm going to leave now. I've got a few things I need to check before the council meeting. Be at my office in a few hours and we can all go together. Tsunade said as she stood up and made her way towards the front entrance. All right, we'll be there. What about Itachi though? I'm sure he could sneak into your office, but there is no way he would be able to sneak into the council chambers and remain hidden, not with Hiashi and the rest of the Shinobi Council. Naruto asked as he walked Tsunade out. You're right, that's why we are going to get Itachi out of the way first. When the council explodes, I'll explain a few things, then it will lead into you being named as the new Uzumaki clan head. Trust me on this, after years of headaches I'm finally able to get back at the civilian council and the elders. Tsunade said with a sick grin, causing Naruto to sweat drop. Right, I trust you. Naruto replied, receiving a glare from Tsunade before she left. Smartass. Few hours later, Konoha Council. Tsunade entered the council chambers flanked by both Naruto and cloaked Itachi. Some of the civilian council members frowned when they saw Naruto but knew not to say anything. The relationship that Naruto and Tsunade had was no secret to anyone and they thought it best to not anger the Hokage. Tsunade-sama. One of the civilian members started, why is Uzumaki-san here, and who is that cloaked figure? Naruto is the reason this council meeting has been called today. As for the other person, that will be answered shortly. Tsunade said as she sat down. What is so important about Uzumaki-san that you would want to call a council meeting? A man with pale white eyes asked. Things have happened during the past 3 years and Naruto has learned a few things that we decided to share with you. Tsunade said. Before we get to that though, there is someone who has returned to Konoha after being absent for many years. The moment Itachi removed his hood, the room erupted into chaos. The civilians looked on fearfully as the shinobi side stood in a battle-ready stance. The ANBU in the room also appeared and circled Itachi and Naruto, waiting for the signal to try and end his life. Stand down. Tsunade's voice boomed throughout the council chambers. What is the meaning of this, Tsunade-sama? Itachi is an S-ranked criminal, what is he doing here? One of the civilians yelled. Indeed he is, however he has come back to Konoha willingly, and has been placed under the protection of a clan head. Tsunade said, making each of the clan heads look at each other questioningly. But he killed the rest of his clan. Who's to say he won't do it again? There are certain things regarding that night that you don't know, and don't need to know. Tsunade replied, fact of the matter is, Itachi has come back to Konoha willingly, giving us information on the S-ranked criminal group known as Akatsuki. Why is this the first time we are hearing about this group, Tsunade-sama? A feral-looking woman with 2 red marks running down her face asked. This woman was Sume Inzuka, the current matriarch of the Inzuka clan. We have been monitoring the Akatsuki for the past 3 years. As of right now we know what they want, just not why. Tsunade said. I assume whatever they want it's something troublesome, right? Shikaku Nara, the current leader of the Nara clan, asked. Akatsuki is gathering the Jinchuriki. Over the past 3 years they have been laying low while focusing on earning money and gathering intel on all the Jinchuriki. According to Itachi-san's report they work in pairs of 2, and each group has recently been given a target Jinchuriki to capture. Tsunade said. This would obviously mean that I am a target. Naruto said, earning the council's attention, as well as the Kazekage Gaara, and a Kunoichi from Kumo I had the pleasure of meeting on my last mission. Who is assigned to take Naruto? Hiyashi asked. He had never really hated the boy for what he held, but at the same time had never done much to help him. I was. Itachi said calmly, causing a few in the room to tense again, along with Kisame Hoshigaki, former member of the 7 Swordsmen of the Mist. How do we know this isn't just a trap for you to capture Naruto-san easily? One of the civilian members asked. While no one on the civilian side really liked Naruto, they realized the danger a group such as Akatsuki posed. You don't. Itachi replied calmly. Aside from the fact that I've returned to Konoha willingly and given you information on the group I used to work for, none of you know anything about me, or the reason why I did what I did. But at the same time I've been placed under the protection of a clan head, giving you little to no power over what can be done with me. Yes, you said that earlier. But what clan are you under protection from? From the looks if it the rest of the clan heads present, which are all of them, have no idea what you are talking about. Inoichi Yamanaka, current head of the Yamanaka clan and information gathering specialist from INT department asked. That's a good question, Inoichi-san, one that leads into the next part of this meeting. Tsunade said, gathering the attention of the council again. It's come to my attention that a clan recently thought to be long dead, still has 1 living member. What do you mean, Tsunade-sama? What clan? Sume asked. As many of you know, Kushina Uzumaki was from Uzushiogakure and daughter of the Uzumaki clan head at that time. Tsunade said, earning nods from around the room. That she was, but Kushina-chan has been dead for 16 years. Sume stated. That is true, Kushina has been dead for 16 years, but her son hasn't. Tsunade said, earning surprised looks from the shinobi side, before they slowly turned their gaze towards Naruto. You can't mean. Kushina-chan's son is. Yes, Kushina's legacy, along with the Uzumaki clans, has been living in Konoha under our very noses for the past 16 years. Naruto is the son of Kushina Uzumaki and the Yondaime Hokage Minato Namikaze. Tsunade finished. If that were true, then Naruto-san would be the heir to both the Namikaze and Uzumaki clans, but you only referred to a single clan. Shikaku said. That's right, I did. After much thought on Naruto's part he has decided to take up his mother's name and not his father's. Tsunade said, which means that the Uzumaki clan will be reborn in Konoha. But what about Yondaime's legacy? Surely if Naruto-san takes Kushina-san's name then it's likely the Yondaime's family will be forgotten. Sure, the Namikaze weren't a big clan like the Hyuga or Uchiha, but they were still powerful. Inoichi asked. My father's family will never be forgotten. I've already taken preparations in my clan's compound to ensure that the Namikaze name will forever be remembered by my family. If you are so worried about knowledge of his family being forgotten, I would suggest that you do the same. Naruto said. We are getting ahead of ourselves here. I have yet to see one piece of evidence that Naruto-san is in fact related to either Kushina-san or Minato. A man wrapped in bandages said, earning a nod from the civilian side while Tsunade scowled slightly. Very well then, Danzo-san, If it is so hard to believe, then I have prepared both a marriage contract for Kushina and Minato, as well as Naruto's both certificate and blood samples that I tested myself. Tsunade said as she placed a small stack of papers on the table. Danzo took the papers and read them over carefully, before grunting and passing them on to the advisors. Is that sufficient enough evidence for you, Danzo-san? Tsunade asked, receiving a stiff nod from the bandaged shinobi. Good. Naruto will be required to attend all council meetings from here on out unless there is an emergency and he is required. Is there anything else that you want to discuss? A couple things actually, one being what we are going to do with Itachi, who I'm assuming is under Naruto-san's protection, and since Naruto is the last of his clan, will he be taking more than one wife to help restore the Uzumaki? Choza, the head of the Akamichi clan and last member of the famous Ino-Shika-Cho formation, asked. Yes, I am still not convinced that Itachi's intentions towards this village are good. Danzo said, earning a glare from Tsunade as he had played the key role in convincing Itachi to slaughter the Uchiha. Itachi has been placed under my care and protection. If that is not enough for you, then I have a proposition that I really hoped I wouldn't be forced to use. Naruto said. Go on. The Uzumaki clan has a seal that is similar to the Hyuga's caged bird seal. However, I can make it so that the seal only affects a certain area of the body, along with making it so the seal can only be activated by myself and Tsunade-sama. Naruto explained, if I was to say, attach the seal to Itachi's heart, it could be used as a kill switch. Shikaku finished. Being the head of a clan well known for being the most intelligent in Konoha, Shikaku could tell there was more going on here, but he didn't quite know what. Exactly, I can attach the seal to Itachi's heart. Adding both mine and Tsunade-sama's blood to the seal will make it so that only we could activate it. That being said, we have already discussed with Tsunade-sama that Itachi will be under my watch, meaning when I go on missions, he comes with me, so adding Tsunade's blood is only a precautionary method if something were to happen to me. Naruto said, earning a nod from the council members. That would be satisfactory, Naruto-san. Now, what about our other question? Danzo asked. I will be taking more than one spouse. Naruto said, earning grins from the civilian side. However, I know the laws. I cannot be placed into an arranged marriage till after my 18th birthday, giving me 2 more years to find suitable wives. You know how many you are required to have, right? Danzo asked with a frown. He had hoped that Naruto wouldn't have read up on clan laws yet so he could force him into marriages that would benefit his plans for Konoha. Yes, at the minimum I am required to take 4 wives. I'm already in a relationship with someone right now. While I don't really like the idea of having more than one wife, if someone who I approve of was to come along, then I wouldn't pass up the opportunity, as I don't want to be forced into a loveless marriage with some merchant's spoiled daughter. Naruto said. May I ask who you are in a relationship with, Naruto-san? Sume asked, already thinking of encouraging her daughter to get to know the young blonde. I guess it is all right, Yugao Azuki, my old ANBU partner who is now living at my estate alongside Itachi and myself. Naruto replied, earning a nod from the Inzuka matriarch. We will announce Naruto's heritage and Itachi's return to the village tomorrow. If there are no more questions or concerns regarding Naruto, you two are free to go. Tsunade said. Earning no protest, Naruto and Itachi left the council chambers, agreeing to meet with Tsunade later to apply the seal. Grass country. Kukuku, are you sure this information is true? Yes, Orochimaru-sama. It seems that Itachi Uchiha has returned to Konoha after leaving the Akatsuki. They even sent 4 high-ranked shinobi to help him get away. Do you know who they sent, Kabuto? Orochimaru asked. They sent a ranked shinobi, Kakashi Hatake, Yugao Azuki, and Maeda Guy, along with recently promoted Naruto Uzumaki, whose bingo book entry was recently updated to S-ranked. Kabuto replied. The sound of shattering glass could be heard from a dark corner of the room. The only thing that could be seen through the darkness was a pair of angry Sharingan eyes. Itachi, Naruto, I'll kill you both soon enough. Omake. How not to tell Hinata you don't have feelings for her, remember the M rating. Yugao-chan, I don't know how to tell Hinata that I can't return her feelings. We were never really close, but she is still my friend and I don't want to hurt her. Naruto said as he stood beside Yugao on the Hokage monument. I don't know Naruto-kun, that girl is as bad as those girls Ino and Sakura were with Sasuke before he left, just that she is too shy to actually do anything about it. I think that no matter how you say it you are going to hurt her feelings. Yugao replied. That's what I was afraid of, Naruto said, sighing as he ran his hand through his hair. Yugao was about to say something when a man wearing a black hoodie and glasses with gray hair jumped in front of her, knocking her off balance as she fell down the forehead of the Yondaime Hokage. Dude, what the? We were having a heart-to-heart there, and why are you wearing glasses? It's nighttime. For one, I'm here to help you with your problem with Hinata. For your second question, it's always sunny in Dutcheville. The man said, making Naruto sweat drop. Right. Well, the first thing you gotta do is take her out for coffee or something, after that you invite her back to your house. When you get there you tell her to sit on your couch while you go grab a beer, after that. The man said as he turned away, almost as if he was looking at an imaginary camera, you were right in the. After the words left his mouth both he and Naruto felt heavy bloodlust coming from behind them, turning they both paled as they saw Yugao, ninjutsu drawn, glaring daggers at both of them. Why Yugao-chan IW wouldn't actually do that? Naruto said, trying to calm the purple-haired woman down.